Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Valpo Football Preview, along with head coach Dave Cicchini. This is Todd Eichow. Today we'll start by Dave taking a look back at what took place on Saturday in the PFL opener against Drake, and we'll look ahead to the home PFL opener on Saturday against Stetson. Obviously, high expectations going into the Drake game. It was a close game at half. The second half, obviously, was not a half you really want to look at as being a positive in any way. Let's talk about what took place. Start from the beginning of the game, where obviously moved the football, and then the second half, what happened?
Yeah, no, we came out great. The offense kind of picked up right where it left off against Trinity, went right down the field, put together a great drive. Really had several great drives during the first half and put up some points. And the defense hung in there, did a great job on third down. I think they were Drake's offense was 1 of 5 on third downs in the first half, and it was a tight game. You know, we had a couple of bounces just not go our way, and so we went into halftime, down as opposed to being ahead. But we really felt good about how the game was going and how we were hanging in there. Second half came out and just we did a great job at the start, forced a 3-and-out on defense, but the offense really sputtered in the second half, 2 3-and-outs, and then an interception on our third drive. And the wheels kind of fell off there for a while. And, I give Drake credit. Their quarterback played an amazing football game and got him out of a lot of third and medium, third and long type situations. Then they put together several really long, time-consuming type drives, and we were just really never able to right the ship offensively.
We have talked about that, hey, we're ready to turn the corner. And I looked before the ball game, and I saw you guys were starting 4 seniors, and they were starting 16 seniors. We're not making excuses, but that is in some ways tough to overcome. You've been around college football for a long time. 16 seniors, and I think half of them were fifth-year seniors. That's almost unheard of.
Yeah, and when you look at non-conference, the Pioneer League, the Ivy League, the teams that are typically the best are the ones that have the most senior leadership. Good, solid football players who played a lot of football, and physically they're just mature. We are much more mature, much more physical than we have ever been, but we've got a tiny senior class. Hopefully that's going to be us a year from now, and we'll be a little bit better off for it.
I guess still it's just one bad half of football. It wasn't easy. I'm sure you went in the locker room, you knew you wouldn't have Jack Jarnigan for the second half, kind of an emotional leader on your team. Sure. And not only that, but a very good football player. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but you knew going into the second half you wouldn't have them. You wouldn't have him, and in some ways, you look at what took place in the second half offensively, that didn't look like the Valpo offense in the second half.
Yeah, no, there's no question. We didn't. We were just a little off. We had some guys open and we missed them. We had some guys open and our pass protection got to us before we could get them the football. Sometimes Jimmy made a couple of bad reads, but we weren't able to piece together anything that could kind of get the momentum and the tempo going back in our favor. Losing Jack certainly was difficult. He is kind of the captain of our offensive line. I know Jimmy's very confident with him there. Brady Sullivan came in and actually filled in pretty well. He did a good job. He hadn't played a whole lot of football for us. Really, Trinity was the only game that he played significant snaps, and so he stepped up and did a very able job, and hopefully we'll get Jack back soon.
Now, it is just one loss, and it is at Drake, where most people go in, and most teams go in and they lose. Sure. So you can move on, and there's certainly the schedule. Looks like there's a lot of games where you can be competitive, and there's wins ahead, starting with this week, Saturday against the Stetson team, and not discounting them, but it doesn't look like they're a top-level team in our league right now. They're struggling. Yep. They've gone through some adversity. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, well, they are. They're 0-4 right now, 0-2 in the league. They've had some difficulties scoring points offensively, but they have some talented players. I think they're just kind of working through. They've got, like us, they're not senior laden on either side of the ball, but unlike us, they haven't had a lot of those underclassmen get significant playing time. And I think that's kind of the difference between the two teams right now is we're a little bit more experienced, but they've got some talented players, awfully hard-hitting, in-your-face defense, very well coached. Offensively, they got a quarterback who can chuck it and some receivers who give you, some nightmares in terms of matchups. So it's going to be a challenging game. The way we look at it, as you look at how the PFL has unfolded early on this season, there may not be a true favorite. I think there's a lot of parity in the league this year. And I think every game that we go into for the rest of the season is going to be a winnable football game, but not one where we can take for granted.
On the subject of parity, I think most people who follow the league closely were surprised that Dayton went to Moorhead and lost.
Right.
As good as Dayton has been, and in the non-conference, they've played very well against some scholarship teams, competitive games, and Moorhead's been up and down. That just shows you where the parity is in this league right now.
Right, I agree, wholeheartedly. Each week that goes by, we've been checking the scores of these other teams, and not a week has gone by where you haven't seen a score that kind of you raised your eyebrow at and said, "Wow, that's a little surprising."
Back to Stetson, I remember talking before the Stetson ball game a year ago, and you said their defense puts a lot of pressure on you.
Mm-hmm.
They get after you. You gotta make a few big plays to beat them. Last year, you made a few big plays and beat them. Same formula?
Yeah, it truly comes down to that. When a team, any team, not just Stetson, puts enough guys up on the line of scrimmage, once you break past that line of scrimmage, there's just not that many defenders left to make miss. So whether it's a run game where it's not always just a 3 to 4 yards a play and you just continually control that line of scrimmage, it's a different type of mentality. It's, hey, you may go 0 or 1 or -1, but when you do break through, it doesn't go for 4 or 5, it goes for 20 or 25, and so that's you have to have patience in the run game, and in the pass game, it does come up to making some big plays, getting the ball off before the unblocked defender gets to your quarterback, and winning those one-on-one matchups. And if we make enough of those plays, win enough of those matchup battles, hopefully we'll make enough big plays to win the game. And a year ago, we did exactly that. We made just 1 or 2 more plays throughout the course of the game than they did.
All right, Dave, it'll be good to be home. Good luck on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thanks.
For the head coach, Dave Cicchini, this is Todd Ica. Thanks for joining us this week on Valpo Football Preview.